Hey guys, what's up? It's Joe Raiti from Raiti's Rides. We are here at a Rivian dealership in the meatpacking district of Manhattan, and guess what? We have something all new, all exciting, and definitely electrifying. It's this vehicle right here. This is a 2026 Rivian R2. But before we get into this all new, smaller size platform SUV, let's talk about what's going on here. Rivian. They've been doing the business for the past few years, really bringing a change in what expectations are when it comes to electrified vehicles. Of course, it all started with the R1T, that truck, really shocking the truck world with what could be possible. And even though there are other brands out there, and we all know what they're called, Rivian is really doing things their way and in a very unique way. Now, it started with the R1T, then you have the larger SUV, the R1S. This R2 is going to slot right underneath the R1S. It's got a unique platform, different options when it comes to battery size, two different sizes, and different motor layouts. But what I want to find out is if you're looking for a little bit smaller SUV, you don't want to go that larger size with the R1S, is this the best one to buy, especially if you're looking for something that is a full BEV, a battery electric vehicle? Let's go ahead, let's dive into this 2026 R2 and find out. Right off the bat, the dimensions. I really feel that this is going to fall into a sweet spot with many buyers because of the overall size. Another thing that, of course, makes so much sense is the style. When you see it, you're not going to confuse it with any other brand. So at the front of the business, you're going to notice that unique LED daytime running lamp that goes all the way across the front of the vehicle. We have our triple stacked LED headlight design with the Rivian name in there and that full LED surround. And then on the lower side, of course, we're going to have recovery hooks. With this being a SUV, especially having some off-road S tires, we have some recovery hooks on both sides. And then coming across the front, you're going to notice besides the unique style of Rivian, we do have things like a forward-facing camera, and then that special trim, very clean, very sleek, very modern. And I like the way, like I said, this is an all-new platform, but yet they were able to keep all of the Rivian identity there. Now, as we rise up, of course, you're going to have your front-mounted trunk space. This will be able to electrically open, and we're going to open it in a few short moments, so don't worry about that. But we'll give you an idea of the usable space when you're looking at the R2. Of course, you got the Rivian badge. Like I said, it's interesting how a brand has not been around for a very long time, but they are making their mark in the auto industry. I love the way they do that large U-shaped indentation in the hood. And you got to give it to Rivian because they do a great job with balancing coefficient drag numbers, but still creating an identity. It's not just a jelly bean looking SUV. This has that distinct broad style. Now here's the great news. You're gonna be able to have three different motor setups. You're gonna have your choice of a single motor, which is gonna be out back, making this rear-wheel drive. You'll also be able to go dual motor, which of course will give you that all-wheel drive power. And then if you really wanna take it up to the extreme limits, they also have a tri-motor setup. Front motor out back, two motors driving the rear, 0 to 60 in around 3 seconds. Now, when we come around the bend, here's where things get really good, is wheel and tire size. So you're gonna find these beautiful flat black with the silver accent wheels. What's great about the wheels, they look nice and rugged, but they're also gonna help generate airflow down the side of the vehicle. You'll notice those bright banana yellow calipers peeking from behind, and even the fine touches like the Rivian badge on the wheel. Now, if you're wondering what's the size of this wheel, this is a 21-inch wheel. Tires, those Goodyear off-road spec tires, you actually have shielding in the sidewall. That shows you the credentials of this type of tire. And you're basically looking at 275 on the width and a nice 50 series sidewall, but definitely has this rugged look, and it fits the rest of the design of the vehicle. Now, as we rise up, you're gonna have some nice flared fender look to it. I'm glad that they went with the flat black because this is gonna take a better beating. And then I'm gonna have Lori kind of swing around and show you that aerodynamic work that comes into the bodywork. You can see how it's flared out and it's actually functional channeling of air down the side of the vehicle because we want to try to get that maximum range, and you will get 3 different range options depending on the motors and the 2 different batteries that you choose from. On the mirror caps, you do have body colored. I hope you like cameras because there's a certain way to get 11 cameras on this R2. So 11 different cameras, 5 different radar sensors to get that autonomous driving. And then looking back at the side corner mirrors, you're gonna have your color match, a little bit of gloss black. We do have the two-tone, and I think that on this R2, the two-tone works very well with the style. It has that nice flat roof design, which wait until we get inside. That means that everybody's gonna have an equal amount of headroom and overall passenger room, but yet it gives it that overall bold, rugged look, nice and flush on the door handles, because like I said, it's all about that aerodynamic efficiency. And then as we work towards the rear, same thing. I'm digging the way that they did the side windows. You don't have a bunch of trim. I like the way it's sort of sunken into the side of the vehicle, especially when Lori could show you how the side glass, it's almost like it's pushed in to help channel that air towards the rear quarter window. This is gonna be a 2-row SUV. And then at the tail end of the business, here's something that's really cool. I actually have somebody by the name of Austin off camera that's gonna drop this rear glass. So the rear cargo area drops down, and that's where you're gonna be able to get that easy access to get things out of the back. Let's say you're at your kid's soccer game, he forgot his shin guards, you run on over, you don't have to lift up the tailgate. You just go ahead, lower the glass, and grab it. Same thing with the way that they did above on the rear here with the lighting and everything. Really has that unique style where it doesn't have to look like some type of science project to let you know that this is a new electrified SUV. And then of course, just like we started, full LED lighting all the way across the back. I love the Rivian name, nice and bold. R2, remember, you have your R1T, the R1S, and your R2, and then just clean and simple on the lower bumper area. But guess what? Now it's time to start opening up this R2 and see how much space there is. Let's start with the front and see what we can find. All right, guys, with that front mounted trunk open, obviously electric release, you're gonna notice that you're gonna have that same usable space. And this is something that some manufacturers, I think, are not putting enough effort into making a usable front mounted trunk. But whether you have the all-wheel drive with the 2 electric motors or the rear-wheel drive single motor layout, you're still gonna have that same great usable space. But why don't we go ahead, it's that time, let's get inside this R2 and see what Rivian is bringing for 2026. All right, guys, we are inside this 2026 Rivian R2. Right away getting in, it just feels really good in here, and it feels like you would expect from being in an R1T or an R1S. Now, I know you're saying to yourself, well, Joe, what about range? That obviously we will be bringing more information about, but you could expect with the single rear motor to get a range of around 300 miles, and obviously pricing as well has not been published yet, but we will be bringing you that information as it gets closer to the launches. But why don't we go ahead, let's see what Rivian is bringing for this R2. Let's see what we have to the door panels. Absolutely love the balance of features, but also the finishes. Soft touch material across the top, the contrast stitching, everything has a nice, subtle feel in a very good way. And it's a balance of minimalism, but also still having the space and the features where you want them and how you want them. You have, of course, that Rivian spec Twinkie tray in the center there, easily hold 5 Twinkies. And then, of course, the soft touch material, 2-tone, looking really sharp, and then that door pocket large enough to where you could get a New York calzone in there, no problem. Now, going from the door panel to the dash, it's all about the reusing of materials, right? That's what Rivian really kind of hones in on, that whole reuse of materials. So we have, of course, the 2-tone up top with the light gray. You have that real wood finish with the Rivian name there. Simple, classy, tasteful, and then as you slide in, you're gonna find that you have that 15.6-inch infotainment system. What I love about it is how it's nicely integrated into the dash. It's well within reach, and of course you're gonna have all of the functions and features that you come to expect from Rivian. And the fact that it's not a portrait style, I really like the landscape display overall. Now down below, you have a nice large amount of room for a purse, a bag, a sack of apples. And I also love the way that you have that low floor because this is a battery electric vehicle. So that's really gonna give you tons of leg room. They do a great job with the center console, keeping it simple. Obviously you have your hidden cup holders right there, pop out, and then you can slide it back in. You also have your glove box. So easy access to the glove box. You could put a full box of Twinkies in there, and then you close it up. Nice high center console armrest, really gives you the command seating position behind the wheel. And then the seats. The way that they have the design, the materials, the Rivian name, love the way they get creative with what they're bringing in their vehicles. Of course, full power assist for the passenger and the driver. And then that fixed panoramic glass roof. Absolutely stunning in here. Opens everything up, especially for the rear seat passengers. And remember, I'm 6 feet tall. I got plenty of room. But why don't you come over to the business end? I want to show you behind the wheel of this new R2. All right, guys, business time behind the wheel. Now, remember how I always tell you it's not what you know, it's who you know? I just got a secret message from somebody special at Rivian that's telling me that the starting price for this is right around $45,000. So very good to have that information as we're filming. But you'll notice down below, you do have the Rivian name to greet you as you come in and out. And of course, being a BEV, plenty of room in the pedal box, nice aluminum brake pedal, throttle, and DEB pedal. Of course, you're gonna have your seat controls within fingertip reach. I'm 6 feet tall, and even though this is obviously smaller than the R1S, it feels so comfortable and spacious in here. Steering wheel, just like you find in the other Rivians, very unique shape with the materials, the wood finish. And then guess what? We have a little bit of a demo that I'm going to show you with these haptic buttons and switchgear. I'm going to go ahead and start the demo. It says, hello, hello, how are you? And then it's going to go through each of these different things with the controls on the steering wheel. So as you move, because these actually move up and down and then also in and out, which is really cool. And what's nice is that I can go, we hit start, roll up. Look at that, I'm actually, that's really cool. You can tilt it to the left, tilt it to the right, look at this. And it's really cool because you're getting a little bit of a kickback from the actual switchgear. Push out. So this is the technology that's happening with these details in the wheel and the controls. It actually senses my hands on the controls. Really, really cool to see how they've been able to integrate this, and I'm really liking how they have this little demo here for us to be able to play through, see the graphics, see the fonts. Look at that, very responsive. Ooh, it actually gets warm. Really like that. This is what the technology and everything that Rivian is bringing to the table with this system. Now I'm getting a little bit of a vibration kickback from the switchgear. It's really, it's almost like the controls are alive. Really, really amazing how, I mean, I wish I could, can you see, Lori, how that's actually moving there and kicking back? That to me is mind-blowing, where they're going about the feel. And I think that's always been the biggest question with EVs, hasn't it been? How do I know that I'm in brand X EV and not in brand Y if there's no actual like sound from an engine? This is what Rivian does to help create that unique driving experience. And even sitting here going through this simple system where it's showing me how this technology is working, I can't wait to get on the road and see how this is going to create a unique experience. because it really is amazing technology. Of course, you do have an electric tilting and telescoping steering wheel, and then that beautiful digital display is going to have all that crisp, clear information that's going to be easy to read at a glance. But why don't we go ahead? It's not just about the people up front. That would be selfish. Let's get into the back seat and see if your passengers are going to enjoy riding in this R2. All right, guys, back seat time. Remember, this is a two-row SUV. I want to let you know that the people at Rivian did not want me to move my seat. The reason why they didn't want me to move the driver's seat is because, remember, I'm 6 feet tall, and here I am sitting, and I'm not even touching the back of the seat in front of me. So that is showing you how this room is just so much open and how you have plenty of room. Now, down below, you'll notice, once again, I always like to point this out, how low the floor is because of this being a battery electric vehicle. You got plenty of areas for storage in the back pockets. Put a couple magazines of the great outdoors, maybe good housekeeping. And then in the back, you do have some AC vents and 2 USB-Cs. And what's awesome is that you can actually have that person sitting. I'm actually gonna slide over, Lori, just a second, because now the person in the center has some extra space for their feet so that they don't feel like they're left out. I love the way that design has been worked in, even USB-Cs located on the back of the seats as well. But definitely, I think my favorite is the color touches that they chose, the color palette for the inside of this. You pull down your center armrest. Obviously, you got more stitching, the cup holders, flip it back up. But why don't we go ahead, let's get to the last piece of this SUV puzzle. Let's get to the cargo area and see what you could stuff in your R2. All right, guys, cargo area time. Now, one of the things that you're gonna like, because this is an electric vehicle, is look how low the loading floor is. So when you're bringing things from ground level into the back of the R2, you're not gonna have to be working out at Gold's Gym to get those things in, because it's not that high of a lift to get in. But once you are in, you'll notice that you have plenty of usable room. Of course, if you need more room, that rear seat will then fold down. And then you'll also notice all the connectivity that we have. Home power source, USB-Cs, love to have that easy access. And then of course, what's also great, and what's amazing about this, it's not compromised even if you have the 3 motors. You go ahead, you lift this up, you have more storage room in there than what you could find probably at your public storage facility. But I just love the way you have a versatile amount of room. And for those that don't want to step up to an R1S, maybe because you don't want to, maybe because you're not ready to, this definitely is going to fit the bill to the T, especially with the way that this particular one is spec'd out. But let me know what you think. Rivian bringing new vehicles. They got the R3. I can't wait to get my hands on that one. They've had great success with the R1T, the R1S. Let Rivian know down in the comments section what you're thinking about this R2. They're gonna go through it, but until we're ready for the first drive, it's time to wrap it up, and definitely wanna thank you for all of your support. Of course, we need to thank Lori, the muscle behind the lens, working that camera like a champ. Thank you, Lori, for all that you do. And just like always, guys, I'll see you on the next ride.